Are the kids still here? Let's give the kids another round of applause. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the State of the Second District. I hope you had a chance to enjoy the music and the drinks. I'd like to thank Salud, Maid, and Beechwood for all your help. Also, a very special thank you to DLBA for sponsoring our entertainment tonight and supporting our live music scene in Long Beach with events such as Live After 5, Busker Fest, and Summer in Music. And a special thank you to Andera and Solange of Bear Coon for opening tonight's event. My sincere appreciation for Josh and Megan and the guys responsible for that incredible video featuring Long Beach, Matt, Brian, Chaz. Now, I don't have all the students' names, but I do want to thank the students from Mrs. Torres's class at Burbank Elementary School for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's give them one more round of applause. And I know you know each and every one of them, but I would like to give a special thank you to my staff, a very small group of individuals. We have Brock Coward, Heather Blackman, and Mark Magdaleno. Just look around you. We are in the oldest standing building in downtown Long Beach. It's amazing. Designed by architect Henry Starbuck at the turn of the 20th century and built in 1903, the Loft on Pine was the home of the Freemasons until 1951. Some of you may recall it being the Z Gallery most recently. I recall it. I think half my furniture is still from the Z Gallery. I know it's dated, but it is. Thank you to the vision and the commitment to adaptive reuse from folks such as property owner Scott Hamilton and Kurt Schneider, business owner Mary Lalonde, and developer Jan Van Dyce. The Loft on Pine now hosts weddings and special events. And I'd like to give a special applause to Mary. Just a special note, I don't know if you met her, but Mary did all of this. All the flowers, just everything, and made this space available to us. And we want to thank you for making this the jewel in the crown right now. Thank you. It makes quite a beautiful backdrop for our event tonight. It's absolutely gorgeous. While you're putting your hands together for Mary, for this building, I want you to also help me thank Beechwood Barbecue, Bobo, Gaucho Grill, Michael's Pizzeria, and Federal Bar for graciously agreeing to host us after the event. I am very pleased to recognize distinguished officials joining us at tonight's event. I think you've already seen them. We have Mayor Robert Garcia. Councilmember from the 5th District, Stacy Mungo. And Councilmember Susie Price could not be here tonight from the 3rd District, but Julie Maleki is here from her office. We have City Manager Pat West. We have Doug Drummond, who's the President of the Harbor Commission. Tracy Egoscu, member of the Harbor Commission Board. And someone who will never sit down at an event, Chief Mike Dury from Long Beach Firefighters. You have to get nervous when you look at the back of the room and all the uniformed people are standing and you're wondering, is there something happening? Are we supposed to run out anytime soon? No, okay. Tonight we come together as stakeholders in our community passionate about our neighborhood, mutually invested in the future of our great city. It's inspiring, and I thank you for your presence tonight. At our last State of the District, I talked about this being the dawn of a period of growth and prosperity in our city, fueled by innovation, partnerships, and good old-fashioned Long Beach passion. One needs only look at the great restaurants and shops popping up in our neighborhoods and corridors, or the construction cranes in downtown. I always remember Craig Cogan telling us during the recession, if you can see the cranes, you know we're still doing okay. So I love seeing the cranes. We also have announcements such as the Virgin Galactic and Mercedes-Benz USA that are locating in Douglas Park. And Nike and H&M are coming to the Pike outlets to see the wheels of prosperity are beginning to churn in Long Beach after a historic recession, and it is about time. There is optimism in our city's leadership with 4 new council members of City Council and 1 more on the way, and a new mayor whose energy and optimism is simply contagious. And thanks to our mayor, we have more than 75 new commissioners, including a reassembled Economic Development Commission and a new Technology Innovation Commission. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a motivated executive director at the Port of Long Beach, John Slangerup, leading the Harbor Department into a new chapter of green, sustainable economic growth with ideas such as Energy Island, drawing from the sun, wind, and ocean to supply the port's growing need for electricity over diesel engines. After months of watching our coastline resemble some of LA's freeways in the morning, ILWU and PMA reached a 5-year agreement that will allow goods to flow freely again through our ports. And for the first time in history, there is a 3-woman majority serving on the 5-member board of the Harbor Commissioners. Our convention and visitors industry, another Long Beach economic engine, reported over 300 conventions, trade shows, and events, drawing more than 6 million people and generating $21 million in transient occupancy taxes in 2014, 2.5 million more than in 2013. And thanks to the innovation of our convention center and transformation of the Pacific Ballroom into a one-of-a-kind special event space, our convention complex is a 21st century facility capable of competing with larger and smaller markets for business. And our downtown economic profile has never looked better, with our residential spending potential increasing by $100 million over the last year, an office occupancy rate that's the healthiest in the city, and a growing retail market fueled by the East Village and the Pike Outlet Mall. Are we ready for the Pike Outlets? I am. We are so very fortunate to have dynamic leaders in our DLBA and CVB organizations, always looking for ways to improve the economic competitiveness of Long Beach and downtown. But the private sector isn't the only one getting things done. You know this. In 2014, Long Beach was recognized for being a top 10 digital city for its use of technology. We achieved a perfect score in the Municipal Equality Index for LGBT inclusion in municipal law and policy. We were given an A on our historical preservation report card. Our airport terminal received a nationwide top 10 ranking and architecture award. Our police department crime laboratory received the highest level accreditation. Special Events and Filming Bureau and LBTV, who's here tonight, received accolades as well, doing us all very proud, as did our Parks and Recreation Commission and our Financial Management Department. We have several department directors here with us tonight. They represent a dedicated group of employees that have endured deep cuts while maintaining the highest standard of performance of any public organization. I have great respect for their service to residents and businesses. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. And by the way, I think Marky from my office, our office, was responsible for a quarter of those Go Long Beach requests, if you just look at the screen. We love technology, so go Long Beach. It's a very busy year in the 2nd District, so let's get started with the report. Using a mix of one-time and ongoing funds, we continued an aggressive agenda of planning and managing infrastructure projects in District 2. Our small business corridors are the critical arteries of our local economy that branch out from the heart of our city, our downtown. I am pleased to inform you that we completed the community planning process around Broadway, 4th, 7th Streets with the help of our neighborhood and business associations working with an urban design architect. You may recall that we set out to establish some long-term goals that would improve the business and resident experience, inform city staff of the community's priorities for future projects, and provide the basis for grant applications to fund our projects. My office met with our architect and planning staff last week to review the reports and demonstration projects, providing feedback before they're finalized. I anticipate all 3 corridor studies being released in late April, but can share with you that each study reflects the unique qualities of residents and businesses in those areas. I think we have solid demonstration projects for Broadway and 4th Street. But based on my conversations with stakeholders along 7th Street, I believe the demonstration project cost would be greater than the $100,000 we set aside. So we will be looking at more productive ways to allocate funding for this vital corridor. We have to do that. That being said, I'm encouraged by the fact that our community planning is already having an impact as Public Works recently submitted grant applications for improving the traffic signal systems along all 3 corridors based on our feedback and our shared efforts. One final word. I believe there is interest among other council members and city staff to extend our community planning process further east and west along the 7th Street corridor. I would be very, very supportive of this. However, please let me say, let's identify elements of continuity that raise 7th Street to its rightful place as the westbound entrance to many of our tourist destinations without giving up the character of each section within the corridor, just as the historic East 7th Street. Let's stop looking at 7th Street as a crosstown freeway and treat it as a corridor of neighborhoods, especially the historic ones. And it's only a coincidence that I live along that street, so. Public Works has been extremely busy these days, you know this. One of our vital corridors, Redondo Avenue, got a much-needed repave and its sidewalks replaced in 2014, just in time for the grand opening of the Smarten Final. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to miss the experience of chattering teeth driving down this street. Absolutely not. And the car will like it better as well. Coronado and Obispo also got repaved in 2014. And this year, Orange and Cherry Avenues are receiving complete overhauls. Orange Avenue was in particularly bad shape, especially near Franklin Middle School. But one of our most exciting projects, and I say this fully knowing that I'm an absolute infrastructure geek, is the storm drain project along 3rd Street between Alamitos and Cherry. How excited are we about the storm drain projects? For years, this area experienced flooding, even with some of the most mild rains. That's what was so confounding to us. So my staff did some investigating into our storm drain maps and concluded that over time, the storm drain network had been split up or disconnected from its natural flow. Made perfect sense after we figured that out. After raising this point with our Public Works Director, we have contractors that were on the street with heavy equipment, reconnecting the network and replacing the failing storm drains. And though I said this at our last State of the District, it bears repeating. It is important for us to be aware that one-time and transportation funds are just a drop in the bucket in terms of the city's overall infrastructure needs. The city has not issued any general fund bond infrastructure since the early 1960s. Yet our total need for repairing and repaving streets and sidewalks citywide is estimated at $230 million and climbing. It's as though we can never keep up. What's even more staggering is our total need in every department citywide is $1.1 billion. We are a mature city with aging facilities and infrastructure, more so than other cities in this region. We're a beautiful city, but aging nonetheless. So I say to all of you, before this decade is over, we must have an honest discussion as to how we plan to meet these needs before they become liabilities. We have to do this together. On another, more cautionary note, it's been more than 2 years since I announced the initiation of a street sweeping study to remove the 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. zones in District 2. I know. So, how unconscionable is that we expected people in a 100% parking impacted neighborhood to get up and move their cars at 4 a.m.? It's inhumane. Although I do appreciate seeing some of you in your night robes, it is not right, and we have been working on it. And what I share with you is, it is not as easy to fix as just fixing one area. Planning is a zero-sum game, so you try to make one place better off without making some other places worse off, and that is the challenge, but we are doing this. A great deal has happened between then, 2 years ago, and now to delay the study. But I want you to know that I am just as committed to it today as I have ever been. We are going to get this done. And I have to tell you, if an urban planner on the council can't do it, that would be a shame, so we will get it done. I made our district's parking priorities very clear to our city manager and public works director, and he's in the audience, so it's no surprise that I will say to him that this must get done as soon as possible. So, Mr. City Manager, it has to get done. You notice we reserved a seat in the front for him, so sitting next to the mayor, who's also telling him it must be done. For many residents, our parks serve as their front yard to recreate, gather socially, or just simply relax and watch the world pass by. You've heard me for many years say that our public spaces have to be our living rooms, and that's what these parks are. Bixby Park is a rare gem in the crown of Long Beach's park system. It is unique in location next to our coast, and amenities such as the bandshell, community center, and playground, they make it a prime destination for families and residents. However, it definitely needed some TLC. So this last year, we used one-time funding to install a new roof and refurbish the bathrooms inside of the community center. I know, not very exciting, roofs and bathrooms, but absolutely necessary. We also partnered with Friends of Bixby Park and neighborhood associations such as Bluff Heights, Alamitos Beach, to hold an inaugural Bixby Park Improvement Day. Several of you were there on that day. Together with Parks and Recreation staff, several volunteers spruced up the park with new paint, a new mural garden, horseshoe pits, and other small touches that really made a difference. And I am so very pleased to report that by next month, we'll see all of the park's sodium lights replaced with new energy-saving LED lights. Not only do they save energy, they make the park safer at night for residents on a walk or a jog, or even attending an event at night, such as a Tuesday farmers market. I'd like to give a special thanks to Long Beach Police Department for their suggesting this improvement during our safety review of the park. We can always do better, and your partnership means a lot. Last year, we also held 3 community meetings and conducted online and on-site surveys to update the park's master plan and identify projects for $1.3 million in one-time funds. This was one of the most comprehensive park outreach efforts ever conducted by our Parks, Recreation, and Marine Department. In the end, stakeholders expressed overwhelming support for a continuous park space tied together with a pedestrian spine and an expanded community center with more recreational activities instead of 3 separated parcels of the park. They prioritized a handful of projects, including improvements to the parcel closest to Broadway, which is the focus of fundraising by Friends of Bixby Park, and recently began its own transformation. After receiving feedback from all the stakeholders, 3 projects were selected for Phase 1 funding. A new playground, a new playground, because our playground right now is tired, a new standalone bathroom facility, and a fitness loop. Neighborhood friends and parents, Friends of Bixby Park, helped design a nature-themed playground called Camp Bixby, where children of all ages and physical capabilities use their imagination. And you can see the renderings. And tonight, I'm pleased to share the good news with you that Camp Bixby will be built by July of this year. Now, it is no secret that for years, park visitors have complained about the condition of Bixby's outdoor bathrooms. They were obsolete and poorly located for current and future uses. The new standalone bathroom facility will be built along what will be the pedestrian spine, allowing the old restrooms to be turned into storage space and single restrooms for classrooms. Centrally located for families, farmers market, and bandshell events, the bathroom will have 6 single stalls and wash facilities outside in plain view to discourage vandalism and misuse. And it will reflect the architectural style of the bandshell, all the way down to the arbors on either end, so even the bathrooms can look lovely. The timeline for the completion of this project is October 2015. I want us to rebrand Bixby Park. Spending $1.3 million might not seem like a lot, but it is a long way to rebranding this park into a healthy lifestyle center by tapping into all the yoga and fitness activity on the bluff, as well as new pedestrian beach path below. A fitness loop will be constructed around Parcel 3 with new and existing exercise stations placed along the loop so that women and seniors can use them, as well as our most avid exercisers who can be women and seniors as well, but they will use them. I am excited to say that the expected completion date for this project is also July of 2015. Another transformative project at Bixby Park is the Bluff Project. It was described by one journalist as iconic, and I have to say I agree with this. It is absolutely iconic. Residents now have a graceful and safe path connecting Bixby Park to the beach, landscaped with native plants and very well lighted. What's more, it provides residents in our parking-impacted neighborhoods with a safe and easy route to over 400 overnight parking spaces, and this is an incredible access for an area that is also parking impacted. Combined with the diligence of our neighborhood groups and Park Patrol, I firmly believe that all these projects will bring new users to Bixby Park and activate it in a way that will further discourage loitering and drug use. I want to offer my thanks to George Chapchian and his park staff for the extra effort at Bixby Park. And one final thought before we move on. I hope everyone is making plans to visit the new Bixby Park Farmers Market on Saturdays. Another great park is the postage stamp-sized package, which is known as Miracle on 4th Street. It lives up to its name on a daily basis, home to after-school programming and even its own set of youth intramural teams. Miracle on 4th is pound for pound one of the busiest parks in this city. It was definitely in need of some TLC last year, so we used one-time funding, District 2 funding, to replace the landscaping and refurbish its play equipment. We asked students from Mrs. Torres's class, and you can hear a theme here. Mrs. Torres is our partner and champion, and her kids as well. So we asked these students, Mayor Garcia and Naba, to help us celebrate with the ribbon cutting. And I don't mind saying this, but the tetherball action that day got a little heated among some of the players. Shall remain nameless. However, let's just say I'm looking forward to a rematch sometime soon. You all know I'm very competitive, and that was not a good day for me. You know, we are so very fortunate to have such incredible associations and coalitions providing care and ownership of their local parks and public spaces. For example, Friends of Lincoln Park, DLBA, and Friends of Bixby Park have put tremendous time and effort into issues of public safety, capital improvements, and activation, raising public awareness in a constructive manner. The Promenade Area Residents Association partnered with my office to conduct public outreach and plan a small children's playground at Promenade Square Park. I look forward to working with you to making this playground a reality. We are seeing more and more families moving into the downtown, and that is exactly what we love to see, a place where children can also call home. It took us years to have the downtown regarded as a neighborhood, and I'm so very thankful you're all active in making sure that we continue to see it as a neighborhood. East Village Association reclaimed Arts Park and has been working with my office to hold movie nights and other activities in this little urban oasis. I cannot wait for the next movie in the park. Our Ocean Residents Community Association, also known as ORCA, has been relentless in planning a dog park on the edge of the convention center at Seaside Way. It's going to be great. Consider me your partner in seeing this project through. We will see it through. On Broadway and Alamitos Beach, thank you for your support of Bixby Park, but you and I still have plenty of trees to plant this year along the corridors. And I would be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge and thank AOC 7 for spearheading a literacy fair and the planting of trees and placement of trash cans along 10th Street. My thanks to Bluff Heights for landscaping at the Vista Traffic Circle at Bixby Park, to NABA for your $20,000 NPP landscaping grant to improve Franklin Middle School, to East 7th Street Coalition for your proactiveness, and to Craftsman Village, Carroll Park, and Rose Park for activating our parks with special neighborhood events and cleanups. We just had the extravaganza in Rose Park on Sunday, so thank you for that. And before we leave the subject of parks, I want to make you aware of one other goal I've set for my office and our downtown partners in the coming year, the Downtown Shoreline Fitness Loop. I think Victory and Santa Cruz parks should be more than front yards for our pets to relieve themselves. Nicely put, but that's exactly what they are today. Why not have an exercise station or several exercise stations placed along the ocean corridor in downtown? It's a beautiful scenery. Let's reinforce our reputation for active living by giving our residents and our hotel guests a 4-mile fitness loop stretching down to the marina, circling around our lighthouse, and back to Ocean Boulevard. And I want to acknowledge the DLBA, ORCA, and Parks Recreation for their continued partnership on this project. I'm confident we're going to get this done. If I keep saying that over and over again, they will get done. I know this, because the city manager's sitting here. And the mayor. Of course, we also want residents and visitors to enjoy our incredible namesake beach. So once the fitness loop is completed, it can connect to the beautiful beach pedestrian path stretching 3.1 miles along our coastline. Workers are in the final stretch of laying a resin-based path for joggers and walkers to safely enjoy, separated from cyclists. Getting pedestrians, and I want to thank Chief Dury, by the way, for helping us with that. It's very important that he came forward to state that it would be much safer to keep pedestrians and cyclists apart, so thank you for that. Getting pedestrians and bicyclists safely down to the path is a priority of mine. So we're making improvements to our beach stairwells and creating a safe path from Shoreline Drive to the beach that does not leave visitors stranded on the median. And while new beach bathrooms or a new dock for recreational boaters may not be high on your list, I want you to be proud of our coastline and the improvements we've made to water quality and infrastructure over the last 7 years. They are good for our residents, they're good for tourism, and good for our businesses. Thank you. One of the things I love about being a public servant is working with community members to tackle a problem through innovation and persistence. In fact, there's no shortage of either in District 2. When we introduced hash marks on residential streets to improve parking efficiency, it hadn't been done before in Long Beach, but it's making a difference. It's really making a difference. Last year, we came up with the idea of using resident volunteers, many of you are in the room, from each neighborhood to identify likely locations and provide information to Public Works that's expedited the installation process. When faced with a little bit of sidewalk space for outdoor seating, the 4th Street Business Association and Studio 111 partnered with Public Works and our office to bring the first 2 parklets to Southern California. Last year, we expanded upon the concept, combining a bioswale to catch stormwater with improved pedestrian safety for the parklet at Last Cafe. And if you have not been there, I invite you to go. It's beautiful. This year, there are 2 more parklets coming to the East Village. For the last 6 years, we've championed low-cost vouchers, mobile clinics, and full-time veterinarian, which has resulted in a steady reduction in the number of animals euthanized every year by animal care services. It's been an incredible 5-6 year journey, but we are getting it done. Together with Animal Care Services, we are going to focus on backyard breeders and owners unaware of the tremendous impact unwanted litters have on our city resources and community well-being. You'll notice in our State of the Second District report that we featured Claudia Hoffman and her incredible group of folks at Fix Long Beach as our special guest tonight. Fix Long Beach partners with Animal Care Services to offer low-cost vouchers and organized mobile spay and neuter clinics. I hope you'll consider supporting their organization because it is one of the most effective ways for us to reduce our pet overpopulation. I know she couldn't be here tonight, but I want to thank Judy Crumpton for her tireless work on policy on spay and neuter issues in the community. I think we wear her out so she can't come out to socialize. It is a tough job being a volunteer, and I thank all of you for doing it. Recently, Mayor Garcia joined me for the unveiling of 2 new retailers going into the rebranded Pike outlets. Nike and Forever 21 joined Restoration Hardware and H&M in what's becoming an impressive list of retailers, excited about the transformation of our Pike area from a glorified food court to a regional retail destination. Their commitment to Pike outlets sends a clear signal to other retailers that downtown Long Beach is open for business. I am confident that it won't be too long before conventioneers, cruise line vacationers, and our regional shoppers choose our shoreline location with its beautiful beach weather, tourist attractions, and a bustling downtown over any other outlet in the region. And hopefully, they'll stay a few extra hours or even a few extra days to dine at our fabulous restaurants and catch a movie or a live performance. This is our hope, and I think it'll happen. One of the ways we're going to capture and keep more convention and trade show business is by building on our strengths. Large events and trade shows often stage in several locations, providing attendees with different experiences, but there's a gap between two of our largest venues that affect their ability to work in tandem. So we're investing Tidelands funds in a pedestrian bridge that connects the Terrace Theater and the Convention Center, enabling the CVB and the City of Long Beach to put its best foot forward when we're competing for business. For years, we've talked about the lack of connectivity between the downtown core and our shoreline area. Last summer, DLBA and the Urban Land Institute initiated dialogue with stakeholders about our strengths and our weaknesses and how we can improve this area referred to as Planning District or PD6. PD6 begins on the south side of Ocean and stretches clear to the aquarium and downtown Marina. And although there have been several amendments over the years to this planning document, I believe it's time we have a larger conversation about future development, preservation of open space, and connectivity of this shoreline area. Now, that doesn't mean the conversation will begin tomorrow or even in a week or a month, but I plan on asking my council colleagues to place PD6 in the queue. It is that important. I'll also be asking for the council support in activating the section of Victory Park at the corner of Ocean and Pine that's been hidden behind decorated boards for years. Y'all wondered what was back there. Well, there was nothing back there. So these decorated boards are going to have to come down, and I believe that this corner could be better activated on a temporary or permanent basis by considering the use of pop-up retail or other activity. It could serve as a transition focal point for conventioneers heading north and tourists heading south on Pine, while giving our city and business district a creative and evolving space that captures our spirit of innovation. I think a lot of us call this flexible space. This is going to be quite the flexible space, and I'd like to thank the DLBA for its partnership. Over the next 5 years, downtown Skyline will undergo incredible changes, with projects such as the Current, the Edison, Park Broadway, Ocean Center coming online and more in the early planning stages. Soon, Intertrend Communications will move into their newly adapted home at the American Hotel, and I've strongly encouraged our city manager to move forward with plans to establish the Art Exchange and adaptively reuse the acres of book site. The criticality of the Art Exchange and adaptively reusing the acres of book site is so that we can close the divide between the East Village and the downtown core, finally close it. So, it wasn't too long ago that you dared to dream with me, developing a vision for downtown that evolved into the downtown plan. We championed an adaptive reuse policy and updated our downtown dining and entertainment district rules to make our city more business friendly. Now Long Beach has a leg up in attracting quality developers to several sites, not the least of which is our Civic Center. Our new Civic Center and main library will change the way our citizens interact with government, vastly improving the connectivity and flow of downtown and provide a safe place for our residents and to recreate and city employees to conduct the people's business, all without raising taxes or putting a bond on the ballot. That's innovation and persistence. When we talked about Civic Center several years ago, many people thought we could not get it done. And I want to thank each and every one of you that had faith that Civic Center could be the heart of our city, could be the heart of public service. And I want to thank you for that. I'd like to thank the mayor for having that faith and belief, and the city manager for having the faith and belief in that you deserve a Civic Center that you can be proud of. And before we part tonight, I'd like to say a few things about what's happening at the Breakers building. As many of you know by now, our senior residents have been informed by the landlord that they must leave the building within 60 days. It's heartbreaking. Prior to this notice, residents were informed that a sober living home was going into the building, even though city staff and I made it absolutely clear that it was not a permitted use, that it would not happen. I've been in close contact with the president of the residential council at the Breakers since the beginning of this mess, and I remain in close contact. I've asked the new landlord, Solid Landings, to meet with city staff and my office to learn more about their future plans for the building. We'll see where they are after that meeting. But I can certainly assure you, and I certainly believe, that our seniors deserve better than this. However, I want to caution members of our community not to use this moment of emotional vulnerability for political gain. It is not right, and in fact, it is rather distasteful. Let's work together for the betterment of these seniors' future, not for political gain. Being a council member in the 2nd District requires courage of conviction. It is not often a glamorous place, and we are called upon to make tough decisions. I assure you that to the extent possible, we will send a strong message to the operator of the Breakers that the future of our seniors there matters to us greatly. And if any of you have been in a tough meeting with me, it matters. I hope tonight has instilled a sense of pride in you, reinforcing the fact that Long Beach is second to no one in this county. We no longer need to feel the cold of LA's shadow, but rather the warmth of our own glow as we do things the Long Beach way. For if there's one thing I've learned in my 8 years representing the 2nd District, it's that you love Long Beach as much as I do. Your passion for this city and your emotional investment is unrivaled. Thank you for caring to make a difference. It is an honor to serve you, and good night.